going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson in for the Sports Arena. And, it is divisional round of the NFL playoffs. So, of course, I have the privilege of bringing back, we've had enough time to drown our sorrows with regards to Philadelphia losing as badly and as horribly as they did on Monday night. And I'm sure she's got her own opinion, but it's very similar to mine. But she is co-host of the Blonde Blitz. Deb Whitcas is joining me here back on the Sports Arena. How are you, Deb?
Good. How are you?
I'm well.
I have to be honest, I'm not quite sure I'm over it yet.
I have to be over it because the longer I sit and stew about it, the angrier I get. And I'm trying to be a better person in 2024. I'm trying to be more centered and more grounded and not to let things like this affect me. But it is that one thing that I'm like, I'm thankful, even though I live down here and I live in the Tampa Bay area. So people are going to, right? I was there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's even worse. Okay.
While you were at the Emmys, because like I said, I see the hardware sitting behind you.
I was.
But I do have to appreciate the fact that you took time to make sure you represented our team while you were at the Emmys. I love that picture, by the way. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I guess let's just start there tonight.
Okay.
So let's recap this game and how badly it was. When you actually caught the highlights, was there anything in particular that you noticed that you were like, this just doesn't make sense? This is not the team.
Oh, I mean, our defense. The Eagles defense obviously couldn't hold anything. Number one, and to be honest, I was watching the game, didn't watch it as intently as I probably should have, but I was there, on my phone, watching the Emmys, watching the game, like several other people were. To be honest, it was actually funny to see how many people were. Who schedules the Emmys during a Monday night, wild card weekend? Like, who does that?
Right.
But they did it. We just couldn't. We obviously couldn't score. Eagles couldn't score. They were throwing. Why? We needed to get back to basics. We needed to do a run game. Run the goddamn ball. Like, that's what the Eagles do the best. We couldn't hold anybody. We couldn't hold them to save our lives. And after that safety, when Jalen, when he got tackled, in the end zone, I was like, I'm done. And I turned it off and I didn't turn it back on again. So, yeah.
I stayed for as long as I possibly could, because as you know, when you go to these games, people like to be. Oh, well, hold on. I left with about 3 minutes left.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so it's not like I was like, oh no, I'm gone after the safety. Right. No. I was hoping for something, but unfortunately, I was not given that, and so finally, I had enough was enough. And full transparency, I just could not deal with the Tampa fans anymore. I just couldn't.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They just,
the Tampa fans don't seem too bad, but in that situation, you've got the Buccaneers with, I love Baker Mayfield, to be honest. I love him in Tampa. I think he's the best in the South, but they're playing the Eagles, who at one point were 10-1 and projected to win the Super Bowl or go back to the Super Bowl. And then the Eagles and Bucs are in the wild card. Yeah. The Bucs maybe deserve to be there, maybe not. The Eagles should have taken the division. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Why are the Eagles in the wild card game against the Bucs, and then the Bucs destroys the Eagles? Like, if I was a Tampa Bay fan, I probably would have given some heat to the Eagles fans that were there as well.
You know what? And I sat there, I dealt with it, I took it. But let's move on to some of the other games. So last time we spoke, we talked about, Cleveland and Houston. And I said this had the opportunity to set the bar for the rest of the weekend. And honestly, I think it did, because I'm sitting here, I'm watching this game, and in the first quarter, it looks like it's going to be a shootout. Both these teams are just going down the field, back and forth. And I'm like, whoa, this could be something truly classic. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where Myles Garrett went. I don't know where the Cleveland defense went. But C.J. Stroud and Houston were like, no, this is our moment. This is our time. Let's show you what we can do. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I called it. I'll say it again. I called it at the combine. I watched C.J. Stroud all of his, activities that he did. And I was like, everyone keep an eye on him. This is going to be the guy. Bryce Young, not so sure. And CJ Stroud, yes, please. And I'm so excited that he, has taken the Texans to where they are. We'll see. I don't know about them beating the Ravens, but I mean, it might be a good. They're going to give it a shot. But yeah, no, the Browns. Again, like you said, it was kind of back and forth. Joe Flacco just. I don't know what happened. Joe was playing great throughout the last couple months of the season, and just couldn't hold it. So
No, and I was like, wow, really? I was like, I just expected because
more.
he hadn't played. I expected more from him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He actually got it's funny, on the Blonde Blitz. It's funny because we give out awards, and he was my brassy blonde, along with Dak Prescott as well.
Okay, all right. Since you brought him up, and great minds think alike, that's exactly where I was going. Here's the one thing we can both celebrate is the fact that a team that we can't stand
Yep.
truly got their just due. And
Yes.
the youngest team in the NFL went into Jerry World and just blessed us with a beautiful 48. I mean, I'm saying 48-16 because those last two were just garbage time touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Just blessed us with that one. And I'm like, I have so much love for Jordan Love. But I want to ask you, when you were watching this, were you more just happy to see that this young team is going to thrive? Or was it more of, okay, Dallas lost, which we knew was going to happen, and now we don't got to hear from them fans for at least another, I don't know, a month?
I think it was a combination of both, to be honest. Love seeing Jordan Love killing it out there. I said that from his very first game. I was impressed with what I saw. Obviously, 3 years, under Aaron Rodgers says something, and I was excited. Yeah, and then also with Dallas. I mean, obviously, I had them. We both had them to win, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And was excited for the upset, obviously. And wow, what an upset. But Dak always chokes. Like, that's why they haven't been in a Super Bowl since 1996. Like, the Cowboys always choke. They get in their heads, and I mean, Dak he said it himself. He's like, I messed this game up. Like,
So let me ask you a question, because I've heard a lot of people say this. So I want to get your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Was this the best course of action for the Cowboys? Number 2 seed, home playoff game, potentially 2. Is this the best that it's ever going to get for them?
I don't know about that. I mean, every year it's like, this is our year, and then it never turns out to be, which is always, as an Eagles fan, always makes me smile.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry, Dallas fans. I mean, yeah, and what is weird is they didn't lose a single game at home, and except for this one. And wow, did they lose? Like, go out with a bang, guys. Like, wow.
Right.
It could, I mean, the situation was really in their favor, and it really went bad for them.
Yeah.
To the point where I thought Mike McCarthy was going to be gone. I'm shocked that he has a job, but
listen, Jerry Jones, as we know, Jerry does things on his time. So
right, that's
all right,
true.
Kansas City, Miami. All I can say is neither one of these teams looked like a true playoff team.
Right.
Somebody had to win, but for Miami to just only put up 7, and I know the Miami fans are like, well, the weather. I'm like, hey, y'all should have figured this out a long time ago.
Right. Absolutely. And that it was a pretty gnarly game. I mean, Andy Reid's mustache was frozen.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes had a hole in his helmet. So yeah, I mean, but you can't blame weather. I don't know. The Dolphins have been really on and off this season. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it, really. And I wasn't shocked that Kansas City beat them. I think Mahomes is a little bit more back. I think he plays better in the playoffs when something's at stake. And I think the team rallied a little bit more than they would in a regular season game because it's really important now. Like Mahomes was Mahomes, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so yeah, I wasn't shocked that KC won that game at all.
This game, though, I have to admit, for me, was a tearjerker. And I watched it from start to finish. The Detroit Rams game.
Oh yeah.
You know, Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit, Jared Goff, his basic replacement. But Detroit holding it down and actually doing what was needed to be done, which was very simply play their ball, get the first down, and then end the game. You know, for both of these teams, I was very much like, okay, this to me was what a playoff game was supposed to feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I actually didn't. I watched some highlights. Obviously, I live in LA. I'm a Rams fan. I'm very excited for my Lions fans, though, friends. But I was actually on the plane for this one, and my phone died. And the woman next to me actually let me use her charger a little bit just so I could look at the score. I couldn't get the actual game. So I'm sitting there staring at my phone for the score while I'm on a plane. But yeah, no, I mean, the whole, I don't want to say drama, but between Goff and Stafford, it was a great game. I mean, it was such a back and forth. Puka Nacua had a great game. He kind of blames himself for the loss. I don't know if that's necessary, but yeah, it was great. It was a great game.
I mean, listen,
I was excited to see the Lions win, though. I think they deserve it, and they were actually my Ken of the week in the Blonde Blitz. So
okay. So the last matchup before we get to the divisional round, which is Pittsburgh and Buffalo, again, a game that here's where I knew Buffalo was going to win this game. When the Pittsburgh defense let Josh Allen run for 52 yards and a touchdown, I said, game, set, match. Because we've known Pittsburgh's defense to just contain, find a way to stop.
And TJ Watt wasn't even playing, right? But
I don't believe so.
I don't think he wasn't playing.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I love me some Mike Tomlin, but I'm just like, this is what we're doing? I'm like, come on.
And Khalil Shakur had some amazing escapes too. Like he restored those that 2-score lead for a bit there. It wasn't just one play. He did it several times.
Oh
yeah, like a legit escape artist. I was like, who is this guy?
And why have we not been paying attention to him? Like,
exactly.
where I have missed this guy.
But... Yep, and you couldn't take your eyes off of him.
No, you couldn't. Yeah. You really couldn't. All right, let's get to the divisional round matchups. And we're starting with, you know, that team in Texas, the Texans, heading to Baltimore. Now, you know, full transparency, Baltimore is my pick to get to Vegas this year.
Same.
But
I have the Ravens Stroud. I have the Bills, so we'll see. We'll see which one. One's my heart bracket and one's my real bracket. Like I said,
right. I remember you said that, yeah. But again, CJ Stroud is proving to be that dark horse, if you will. So talk to me about this matchup and what do you think?
I think Baltimore has obviously earned the stature of number 1 seed. You know what I mean? For sure. They're one of the strongest teams on both sides of the ball this season. They're 6th in the NFL in total offense. They got 370.4 yards, 4th in scoring at 28.4 points, 1st in rushing, 156.5 yards. I have a bunch of stats. I'm a little obsessed, but
never a bad thing,
right? God, Lamar Jackson's just killing it. I mean, he's led the ground attack. He's got 821 yards. Gus Edwards, career high of 810. But I mean, Ravens are going to win this game. But I will not be mad if Texans upset. Right? Looking for their first divisional round in like 5 tries. What else here? I mean, Stroud's done amazing. 8th in the NFL. He's got 4,108 passing yards during the regular seasons, 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions.
Actually, 23 touchdowns.
Is it 23? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23. And only 2 interceptions, which is a little crazy because most quarterbacks are getting like 2 a game now,
Pretty much.
But yeah, I mean, Texans have one of the best passing offenses in the league. They're ranked 7, averaging 245.5 yards per game. Baltimore's favored by 9. I think that might be a little high, but I think the Ravens are going to take this. My score is 27-25.
It is in Baltimore, so I can understand that. But look, the Texans, as we've said, winning their first division title in 5 years, the first team in the Super Bowl era to win a division title with their rookie head coach and rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And if they were to, as a lot of people are saying, upset the Baltimore Ravens, they would go to their first AFC championship game. But the defense, here's the thing that I'm looking for is, flipping over to Baltimore, it's that Baltimore defense. Baltimore's defense is averaging, scoring wise, 16.5 points. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things whereas Houston's defense only has 46 sacks, Baltimore's defense has 60. They've got 31 takeaways, and they're plus 12 in the turnover differential. I'm just truly looking at this and saying, if you take Baltimore's offense, which we know Lamar Jackson,
right?
He has Gus Edwards. He has Justice Hill. Oh, and by the way, he's getting back Mark Andrews, who hasn't played since week 11.
Yep.
So I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm saying to myself, again, Lamar passing for 3,600 yards. He's got 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I think what's going to happen is, between Mark Andrews being back, we know OBJ is going to step up in the playoffs because he wants to make amends for when he went out in the Super Bowl in the Rams win. So he definitely has got a chip on his shoulder. But then you got that kid, the young kid they got, Zay Flowers. And then the defense. We've always talked about the Baltimore defense being top notch, almost to that elite status. They play their ball in Baltimore. I, like you, have Baltimore winning this game. I think it's going to be a bit more of a stretch than people think. I'm saying 31-21.
Okay.
So the next matchup then is the Battle of the Bays, if you will. Green Bay heading to San Fran. You've got the young team, as we mentioned earlier, Jordan Love, Aaron Jones, Romeo Doubs. But then you flip over and it's Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk. The names are just continually synonymous. They become household names.
Right. Yep.
So when you look at this matchup, what do you see between Green Bay and the 49ers?
I'm really happy that Green Bay is here. I think they deserve to be here. They were a little on and off all season, but I'm excited that they're here. San Francisco, I said of the first games, nobody's beating San Francisco, and I was obviously wrong. But but barely though. I mean, they lost a couple when Deebo Samuel was out, so that's what I blame that on. But they left for a little bit, came back, and now they're a force. Like you just said everyone's names.
And that's just the offensive side.
Exactly right. We're not even getting to the defense. I feel like both the offense and the defense obviously are very balanced. I think it's going to be tough for Green Bay to win this one. I'm going Green Bay 27, San Francisco 32.
Okay. All right. I mean, it stands to reason. Here, Jair Alexander, though, I think is definitely, I think he's feeling himself right now because of the performance he put on in Dallas. But now you have to go to San Francisco and, again, face those guys. Listen, Fred Warner
is so much better than Dallas.
I know. I agree. But Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, those boys are chomping at the bit to get this young kid. And we can't even really call him young because he's been in the league. He just hasn't been a starter until this year. I agree with you. But, again, I'm predicting a bigger score because it's in San Francisco. They are the number 1 seed. And I just don't know if Green Bay is going to have another performance like they had against Dallas.
That's true.
So I'm saying the tide's going to turn here, and I'm saying it's going to be like, I'll just say 42 to like 24.
Do you think it's going to be
Because
that high scoring?
We know San Francisco can put up points.
That's true.
And if Brock Purdy comes into his own like we know him to do,
right?
Listen, all credit goes to Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love passing for over 4,000 yards, 32 and 11 touchdown and interceptions. It's just, to me, I look at Purdy, and even though Purdy, here's the funny thing, even though Purdy only has a 69.4 completion percentage and he's 31 and 11, when he gets in that rhythm and everybody's clicking, like you said, that team's unstoppable. So that's why I feel the stretch is going to be a lot larger between those two teams. But again, I'm picking San Fran to win this game. But I'll tell you this. If Jordan Love and CJ Stroud on Saturday both do the improbable, I'm just going to be so blown away by what we could potentially see in the NFC and AFC championship game. Listen, when we go to Tampa and Detroit, Tampa, you had a great run. I'm telling you right now, it ends on Sunday.
I agree with you.
Because Detroit has shown that even though San Fran is a dominant team from top to bottom, Baltimore has Lamar Jackson, and that man continually just bowls over any obstacle you put in his way. Detroit is a team that I feel is on the rise for this moment. And I feel like it's almost not really an expectation, but for me, I will say it's almost something that I just can foresee. Like, this team refuses to lose. Unlike our Philadelphia Eagles, who kind of just phoned it in on Monday night, Detroit just is like, no. This is our moment. We're not letting anybody take this from us. If you beat us, it's because we gave up on ourselves. And no one under Dan Campbell is giving up on themselves, especially not right now. So I have Detroit over Tampa. I don't think it's going to be as close as a 24-23. I think that was just like it was one of those where, Stafford knew the system and it was coming back. No, Detroit, they got that one out the way. Now they're dialed in, they're focused, their ears are pinned back, and it's go time.
Yeah, and I mean, I have the Lions. I think it will honestly be between the Ravens, San Francisco, the Lions, and the Bills. Those are my four that I'm like, two of those are obviously going to the Super Bowl. And also to your point, the Lions beat the Bucs in week 6. They held them to only 6 points. So I mean, granted, kind of different teams, but still at this point, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I can go through everything. Aiden Hudson, all the numbers. I'm saying Lions 24, Bucs 18. So I think, I think that the Bucs kind of, I mean, they beat the hell out of the Eagles, but they kind of squeaked by on this one. I think the Lions is where it ends for them.
Yeah. So the last matchup, it's been a match that everybody talks about, and every time these two teams get together, something always happens. So we're talking about Kansas City, we're talking about Buffalo, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Josh Allen. These two guys who are forever going to be linked just because of what they are able to do. Where do you have this? Because to me, this is kind of a coin flip right now. Even though it is in Buffalo, I haven't looked at the weather report just yet.
Right. Well, did you see the line of Bills Mafia that were coming out to help get the snow?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I know it's snowing in New Jersey right now. It's snowing in Philly because all of my friends have texted me pictures. So I'm assuming if it's snowing in Philly, it's really snowing in Buffalo. But yeah, no, I mean, as far as this is concerned, two great teams. I think it was nice to see KC kind of step it up, like I said last week. But God, the Bills are on fire. I mean, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, another weapon for him. Yeah, I mean, Josh is in the zone. He's into his run game, as we said. I love seeing it. I feel like the hole in wide receiver for Kansas City is where it's going to mess with them. I just don't. Although I was really, really impressed with rookie Rashid Rice. He really stepped up. I kind of was like, where'd this guy come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Travis Kelce and running back Pachenko can't do it all. So I think the holes at wide receiver is really going to hurt Kansas City, and I'm taking the Bills over Kansas City. I'm saying Bills 31, Kansas City 28. Bills are favored by 2.5 as well, so it's going to be a
mean, they're at home, so I mean they should get the full 3, but I'll take the 2.5. Normally in other years, I'm always a Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs supporter. But again, I flip back to what I said last week when we were talking, and it was the fact that it's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce, and then it's Steve Spagnuolo and that Chris Jones defense, and I'm just like, what? Because the minute I feel like, okay, Buffalo's got their number, this is the year Buffalo, Patrick Mahomes does something
that's true.
He just deflates everything.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. Something's different this year. Although, like, I did really like to see what he did last week, though. I mean, I was like, okay, Mahomes is like back. He's putting the pressure on. Like,
right.
Yeah, he's being Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Still have this feeling the Bills are going to take it.
All right, I'm gonna ride with you on this one. I'm gonna say 27-24. This is definitely gonna be my heart pick. Right. I'm just gonna be honest because I want to pull the trigger so bad, and I just don't know if they can do it. But they're home. Buffalo is home. So listen, I don't care what anybody says. The home team, the crowd definitely plays a factor. So, all right, before I let you get out of here, I have to ask, how were the Emmys? And I only ask because I have to admit, I was looking on Facebook and I saw this and I was like, okay. I was like, look at Deb out there doing her thing. So
thank you.
Talk to me. How were the Emmys?
It was so much fun. I've been to the Emmys now probably for about 10 years. I try to go every year if I can. And this one was really fun. I think because they showcased a bunch of the older shows and it kind of brought up TV history, with Ally McBeal and God, I can't even think who else, Grey's Anatomy and so many kind of different shows that everyone grew up with, and the Jeffersons. Like I think that it was just special. You know what I mean? My favorite moment happened, I would say backstage. Not that I was backstage, but there was a hallway, and I was there, and Joan Collins just walked by me, and I literally went, like, wait a minute. So yeah, she was there for Dynasty, another throwback, and it was special. But Dynasty or Dallas? Wait a minute. I'm such fans of both of them. When I'm pretty sure it was Dynasty. But
yes. If I don't know this, my mother is going to be really mad at me.
Right. I was really young.
Dynasty, definitely Dynasty.
Yeah. Dynasty. Yes. I was right.
Wow.
Go with your gut, right?
She is. I can't believe she is 90.
She was 90 years old, and she looks amazing. She spoke so eloquent, and I mean Hollywood royalty. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean it was fantastic. Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso actually complimented me on my dress. And I was like, she walked up the stairs and she looked at me and I could tell she was like looking at me and she goes, "Oh my God, I love your dress." And I was like, me? Like, wait, like, look at you. She was in this like drop neck ball gown with this tool that was like, she had two people just holding the tool. And it was this blue ball gown that was just amazing. And I looked it up later. It took her designer 4 months to make this dress, and there I was in this little dress that I just bought from, I had it sent to me. And she's like, "I love your dress." I was like, "Okay, that's pretty funny." So yeah, no, the Emmys were amazing, and I actually got to go to the Governor's Ball this year for the first time, and I walked in, and I can't even explain. When I walked in, I was like, "This is sexy as hell." Like they had converted. The LA Convention Center, which I've been to many times. I went to the College Nationals there last year. all the
Right.
events that took place. And I walked in, I was like, this is not the same place. And they had everything was the whole entire room was blacked out with stars and just Emmys everywhere and spotlights and the music and the stage and it was amazing. I was like, okay, I'm doing this every year now.
There you go.
I deserve to be here, right?
Exactly.
And
You
then
in the room now. You're
right, I was
to
like,
quote
okay,
Hamilton, you were in the room where it happened. So
right, and they were actually making everyone's Emmys, and while they were there. So usually, what happens is when you win an Emmy, or if your show wins an Emmy, they give you one, and then later they usually send it to you, the rest of the staff, and that's how the two that I got. But this year they were actually sitting there making them. So I was like, this is pretty cool to like watch them actually put the placards on, like the actual names of everyone and like their
wow.
titles. So there was so many people just walking around with Emmys. It was really, really cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, Deb, as always, I appreciate you. We've
For sure.
got two more. Well, we got another week, and then we get a break, and then we got the Super Bowl. So I definitely need to have
Mhm.
you back on the Sports Arena talking AFC and NFC Championship, and then
Absolutely.
of course,
Do
got
it.
to get you on for the Super Bowl. So
Yep. I will
much
be
love,
there.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. She is the co-host of the Blonde Blitz, Miss Deb Whitcas. Your man Eric Wilson for the Sports Arena. Everyone have a great night, and we will definitely talk to y'all soon. Everybody stay blessed.
Have a good
Peace.
one.